This is a dirty game, bro. And what I've always said is all is fair in love, war, and challenges, 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 and challenges.
See, when I'm sad, this is the music I listen to.
Why were you back on sadness? Like, Malik said he's over it.
I listen to No Love by Eminem. That's all I do.
Oh, nah, I fucks with Linkin Park. You don't have to search for it. I know this song. Even though this isn't the song that I would go with.
No, I'd go with Numb.
You know, Numb was
Crawling.
Not my favorite. I'm sorry, Crawling was definitely not my favorite.
Oh, fuck you. That entire CD was
Hybrid
my shit.
Theory has no skips. I know.
I was like, I'm not going to lie. That is the first CD I was able to listen from one to all the way until the end. And I would repeat it. Because it was
love
just,
Linkin Park.
Every song was as the kids would say, a bop.
Yes, it's a bop. And don't do that. We're old, but we don't need to broadcast it to such a degree that kids will call it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's really good, pot stars? Welcome to another episode of Love, War, Challenges. I am MTV Malik. She is Becky at Giftmaster Bex. He is Robert Stewart Jr. What's really good? Gang, 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 gang. Do you know where we gotta start this episode? We gotta start this episode at the same place I hate every fucking episode. That bullshit fucking algorithm.
Oh,
it's random, right?
Yeah,
Challenge Stats pointed it out right on Twitter, saying that Dom and Angela getting matched up again is mathematically impossible. And they blew that shit right out the fucking water.
They sure did.
I don't get it. Why are we still doing this? Are they not like listening to Twitter? Are they not doing like focus groups? I don't think they ever ran the Challenge USA through a focus group. Because if they did, somebody would have said, fuck that algorithm by episode 2 or 3. And we only needed 2 or 3 episodes of it.
But has it really felt like a regular challenge besides just the challenges? Because I have a feeling that it hasn't been.
Nope,
like
this whole thing is sanitized. Sanitized. I'm talking about, remember the height of Corona? You had so much sanitizer on your hands. Your shit was like, every time you clap, like chalk will come out.
Right.
This is how sanitized the Challenge USA is. I think that's one of the main reasons.
What kind of hand sanitizer are you using that it feels like chalk?
Yeah, I was working in retail.
100% alcohol.
Facts. Yo, it came in liquor bottles. Came in tequila bottles. You just pour it out. Like, it was the worst.
It was getting so bad. I remember going to the store and being like, what the fuck are they selling as hand sanitizer? It was like it was like water. I was like, the fuck is this shit?
Exactly.
But that is how the challenge feels now, like a watered down.
It does feel weird. It's not spicy enough. It's not spicy. Don't get me wrong. When the challenge is too spicy, it can be very, very bad. But this is too sanitized. But let's go ahead and break it to the groups. We got Tyson, Kira, Ben, Sarah, David, Desi, Leo, Kayla, Danny, Alyssa, Derek, Shannon, Colin, Cachet, Dom and Angela, Enzo, and Justine. And when you see Ben and Sarah put together after the events of last episode, this just, it just makes sense. There's no way this thing is random. Here goes the second thing that pissed me off about this episode. We get to the A block, and there's just not a whole bunch going on. Now, if this was a regular challenge season, we would see immediately as soon as you get in the house, bottles flying, people yelling, they got to be held back, security. It's going to be a big thing. It's dividing the house or whatever. What happens when we get back? A whimper. Tyson holds court and makes his case, with some jokes or whatever, does a little bit of damage control, but the damage is done. And we don't really see much from Sarah until later on down the line where we hear some whispering and stuff. The A block drama or the lack thereof, how did you guys feel about that so far when it came to this, the blowout we should have gotten between Tyson and Sarah?
I guess Sarah kept all her energy for the 30 seconds that she was acting like the Undertaker, talking about how she was going to rip his head off and how he's done. Like, I expected her to come back to the house heated, but instead...
She seemed heated.
I mean, she looked pissed, and with the crazy over antics of what she did afterwards, where she looked like she was ready to like jump on the stage and bite his head off like a praying mantis. But I mean,
what y'all got to realize is they played Survivor together multiple times, so there's some strategy on their parts of not blowing this whole thing up. Because okay, we've been there, done that, so this is how I'm going to react, okay? Because if you've played with somebody and you know how that person is going to maneuver, it's not at all surprise, but you expect something like that. Because if it's me personally and I've played multiple games, I'm already expecting the unexpected.
Another thing that, oh, go ahead.
But come on now. Like, not even a confrontation? Like, not
No.
even a fuck you, you suck? Like, something.
Why would you risk $500,000? You don't want to do that. I mean, I say Tyson put himself out there, number one, to be public enemy number one. Number one, he's got the biggest bank account. I'm going for the money. If somebody really want to take a shot at him, they need to take a shot at him and grow some balls. Because if it's me and I'm in this game, I'm calling him out.
Well, Sarah certainly looks like she's ready to call him out, and so does Ben, who looks like he's jumping at the bit too.
Let me ask you a question, Rob. In the past Survivor seasons, has there been any immense fallout from Sarah and Tyson going at it, like that was felt throughout the rest of the cast?
It would be, I think, Seasons of War, Game Changers. They had a few falling out because he actually came into the game, got voted out, got blindsided, then came back into the game, got voted out again by Sarah and Ben. So the fallout was there. I had to go back and look and refresh my memory on how it all went down because it's been a while since I've seen that season.
Right. So it's probably because they know, what could happen because of it. They decided not to make a big stink of it, at least not super publicly. We did see a part that I didn't like. Sarah later on presses Cachet about the vote, and Cachet pretty much bends. She's like, it wasn't my idea. He said this. I wanted to save Justine. I mean, she has a pretty decent out. Do you feel like Cachet is getting her respect in this challenge house? I feel like she carried a lot of the drama so far this season, but I don't think Sarah or a lot of the other people, especially from some of the comments, I don't think they really respect her as a challenger.
I don't think they're scared of her. I mean, if you look at her and you look at Sarah and you think about a competition, you don't think that Cachet is going to be able to win. It's just pure visuals and pure overall what they've done in the challenges lately. I can't see Cachet beating pretty much anybody. But again, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I think she's great for TV. She just needs to, boost that personality a little bit more. And I think she could be a really good character. I think we're just so used to characters on the regular challenge, and they're so
a bit more flamboyant.
And they're so ostentatious. I think we talked about this, where the original challenge has kind of gone off the rails, where this challenge needs to pick it up and bring on some drama, bring on some more interactions that make it more interesting. Otherwise, they're not going to get more seasons because people are going to get bored. It's just, I don't see this. It's
funny you say that because I think her personality is the thing that has shined the most during the season.
I just think she needs to boost it up more.
I mean, they're there for our entertainment purposes. Cachet, I'm not too fond of a fan of hers. I'm not expecting them to make a deep run. If they do, it's because they are the weakest and they're carrying some people that's weak that they know they can beat.
Let me ask you guys a question. If you were in Cachet's shoes, how would you play the remainder of this season?
Under the radar.
Yeah, 100% under the radar.
Don't make any noise?
You can't, because, I mean, you got to have $1 million on the line, and you trying to make it as far as you can go.
She's already made herself a huge kind of semi-target thanks to Tyson. So she's trying to do damage control, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's safe, because even if Sarah says maybe you were manipulated by this, she may decide, you know what? Karma's a bitch, and I'm going to come after you anyway. So it kind of depends.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody really blames Cachet for that. I think everyone can see that Tyson was pulling the strings. Let's go ahead and move on to the daily. Today's daily is going to be called Containment. This is going to be heights over water. There's 4 containers. You got to jump off the water and swim to the ladder, count a symbol, there's some mad puzzle, and some other bullshit. It's a whole lot of stuff. This is another one of these, on paper, seems like a good challenge. It's going to test a lot of things: stamina, strength, balance, how much heart somebody has, because, and athleticism. swimming, all of this stuff is going to be in it. Surprisingly, Desi and David gets the win. Enzo and Justine lose, but let's talk about some of our favorite moments, some wins and losses from this daily. For me, overall, the daily isn't a bad one, but we've seen a couple of dailies just like this. I am begging for some blood. I am begging for some contact. We have seen so much math. We have seen so much puzzles. We have seen so little blood. And I don't mean to sound bloodthirsty or anything like that, but what I mean is contact. I'm not saying that I'm bored by these challenges, but you got to mix it in a little bit. What was your guys' take on some of the best moments and some of the, and how you feel about the challenges we've gotten this season so far?
Well, I have a question. Survivor, you watch Survivor, Robert. So are the challenges similar to like this, where it's little contact and more like endurance, strategy, and for some reason math?
It's a lot more physical too, because there's a lot of water. They are in water a lot. It's physical. They got to carry. They have to do a lot of puzzles. The math part, no. The math part, they got that from the flagship show. So the math thing, and I believe it was War of the Worlds 1, where it was I think they ran the toughest fight, or was that War Waters 2? One of those two, where they did a lot of math. That was one then, because I remember Cara was in that, and that kind of tripped her up. She could. That's
why she didn't make it through to the second round, because she couldn't get the math right.
And she could have actually made it through that season, but she got hung up on the math part. But yeah, the math part comes with the flagship. So that I'm kind of surprised that they throwing a lot more math in the mix of the Challenge USA, because I'm over the math portion of this challenge.
I'm over it too. This isn't an academic decathlon. Like, how much math we need them to do to run the 6 miles to the final.
They're trying to make it too complicated. So you have to remember the symbols, figure out then pick out a thing, and then it has the symbols, each is a certain number, then you have to do the equation with them. I was like, okay.
Even following the rules is confusing and tiresome.
I was like, okay, now I'm like, I can't even figure it out. I don't know how they remember it. Godspeed to them. They have a better memory than I do. I'd be so confused at the end. But it's too convoluted. And I agree with Malik. I want something physical. I want to see some contact, some body. Somebody, damn it. Wrestle for a ball or a pole or a stick or something.
Right.
But I
100% agree.
I mean, I did enjoy a lot of the stuff with I think it was Leo, who I guess apparently came out that he's really terrified of water, and he brought that up. TJ was cracking me up with making fun of him and how he fell into the water and how he was swimming like the worst drop ever. I'm glad that Tyson got a little bit of comeuppance, that he really got a little bit of karma for the fact that though he had a really strong partner, his really strong partner was ill, and therefore he got his first DQ, which was that his first DQ ever in his history of challenges too?
Right. Yeah, I think so. I know Leo kind of explained the reason why he was afraid of jumping into the water as a child, and I understand that, because something happens to you as a kid that actually sticks to you into your adulthood, and that kind of plays back to you when you actually sitting there and going into the water. It's like, no, hold on, pause for a second. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he did have to step up.
You know what I find interesting? I find that Desi has been performing so well this season, and she hasn't been making a stink. I really would love to get a chance to see a bit more of her personality really shine throughout these things. But, she took she's been doing pretty good, and I don't think a lot of the girls are giving her a lot of respect for it.
Isn't she like a beauty queen too?
Yeah, there's something like that.
I think she was like a pageant or something.
Yeah, one of them.
And I was like, no, you don't expect much from pageant girls. And I was like, girls killing it.
You know what? Bailey was a pageant girl, and I thought
Tori
she did pretty
too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you ain't know Tori Hall was a pageant.
Oh, Tori Hall. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh,
that makes sense.
We thought we were talking about Tori Deal.
Not Tori Deal, no.
I was like, when was she a pageant queen? I cannot see her being a pageant queen.
You know what? Thanks to Challenge Mania Live, I got to meet her when we was down in Nashville. She was really, really sweet. both her and Kendall. Such a blast. Challenge Mania in Nashville was definitely an event. But back to the daily, one of the scariest things is we got to see Kara take a really nasty fall, wasn't able to finish. This, really almost messed things up. And something I felt a little bit bad about was Enzo, and watching Enzo bitch up when it came to jump into the container. Enzo, I don't dislike Enzo, but, when I saw him bitched up, I really, really hated it. But then I realized he's 44. And, he hasn't done this stuff before. He's not a five-year challenge vet. He hasn't been on, 8 different seasons. He doesn't do this shit all the time.
No,
I think it's reasonable.
No,
come on, he's 44.
I'm not giving that to him because look, I run races. My first race, I ran at 38. There's guys that been doing it. They're in their 50s doing this stuff. Even if it's your first one, you gonna do it. You got to challenge yourself. Damn it, you have to. I would have tried it. Even if I failed, I would have at least attempted.
The thing is, he looked like a punk. That he wouldn't even be able to swing. And the guy's tall. So that's he didn't even need to swing that far just to get his legs to where he needed to go to be able to push through that. And I understand being afraid. I entirely understand that. I am terrified of heights. But of course, I'm not trying to get on a challenge and win money. And understanding that, number one, I have to be able to swim, which I'm not a super strong swimmer, but I can swim. But that I can't stand on top of a building and look down without my stomach being ready to fall out of my mouth. I can't do that. So I know I need to keep my ass from challenges where I could potentially throw up because I'm looking down a building where if I, that I'm scared of falling off of.
Not participate? But I just figured it out too. I think I've realized why I don't like Enzo. It's the hats. It's the fucking hats.
He definitely looked like a clown with them damn hats he be having on.
It's the hats. Just get a dad hat, man. Dad hats are cool right now. I remember at the time you couldn't wear snapbacks. No, that's a dad hat in the 70s. Right. Get a regular dad hat.
Why does it have to be a particular region, like a different time zone?
Let me tell you something. Hats are important. When I was in high school, you could not wear snapbacks. If you wore snapbacks, you were poor.
Really?
Yeah, snapbacks was not cool. And in the 90s, it was not cool. Now, once you got into the early to mid 2000s, snapbacks came back. And now in the 2010s, no one cared. And now I wear both. But yeah, I did not even get a snapback. What did you
wear if you weren't wearing snapbacks?
You had to wear fitted hats. You had to wear new era fitted hats. Not starter hats. Not even really Nike hats. Nah, no. They wouldn't. Man, this was New York. New York did not play. Since the Saucony's first came out.
Oh, okay.
But one other part that I really did love about this daily is, I didn't love that Shannon got hurt, but when Shannon got hurt, Kayla pointed out, she said, "Oh no, you never announce an injury. That's Challenge 101." Right. And I really love that because it showed that she watches the show and she knows what the fuck she's talking about. You never announce an injury. Well, it always sucks seeing these people get hurt.
I think it's for any kind of challenge season. You don't want people on Survivor to know you're injured either. So I think that kind of falls into like that kind of a competition show.
A lot of times you don't even have to tell them because they can tell something is wrong. And once you start limping or if your hands hurting, you be like, damn, I can't pick this up for real. So what's going to happen? So it automatically shows and it always comes back to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I know that you're not a big fan of Sarah. But
no, I'm a big fan of Sarah.
Not you, him.
I'm not a big fan of Sarah.
That's right. He ain't a big fan. He got to watch the previous seasons. He's got to go back and watch.
He's got he doesn't like her. She tries to be too intimidating, and I want to intimidate people.
I don't want my cops to be intimidated. Protect and serve, motherfucker.
It's a whole cop. I want to be intimidating situation. Had she not said she wants to be intimidating, would you still be mad at her?
She didn't need to tell me. She said she's a cop.
Oh Lord,
that's how to get down.
But anyway, she's the one that fucked up on her round. She openly admitted it. She, basically said, this is my fault. I fucked up. Didn't try to put it on anybody else.
The first time a cop has ever done that.
So, listen.
I'm surprised her PBA rep didn't come in there. My client's not talking.
We're not all cop hating podcast.
I don't hate the cops, but it is fuck the police. That's just what time it is. Moving on. So it looks like Enzo and Justine are going in. Desi and David gets the win, which is going to be really big for David. And then we get to this part I like to call the winners and losers, where this sanitized fucking mayonnaise ass version of the challenge, they purposely sit down the winners and the losers. It's such a setup. Come on, it's such a play, and they got to have a discussion. Now, ever since we saw Cinco and them do this, there's been this trend going on where the losers don't want any blood on their hands, and they're not saying who they want. They're giving them nothing. Right. And Justine and Enzo doesn't give a fucking inch. I do not like this strategy. Enzo and David are cool. It just doesn't make any sense. If you can get things to go in the way that you want them to go, why not take it? I'm not a big fan of this.
Have they showed a party scene ever since? Have they showed a party scene? Because they only shown like once.
Yeah. Only like in that first episode.
They completely cut out
missing
all
a very
party
important
scenes.
part.
Oh, that's some messed up stuff.
Exactly. This whole winners and losers thing, put them in a loud club, let them all section off, and let everybody work their magic. But that's also a huge flaw in this season. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Love War Challenges. What's good?
How's it going? This is Derek Kaczynski.
So this is Paulie, and you're listening to Love War Challenges.
What up, Malik? This is Cara Maria. This is a shout out to the Love War and Challenges podcast. You're totally awesome.
Love War Challenges. For anyone listening to this, they're at LWC Podcast.
World's most dangerous podcast.
This season, listen, I'm all for changes. I'm all for changing it up, keeping it fresh. And I love that about the challenge. This season needed a house vote. A house vote would have shook things up. A house vote would get some of these motherfuckers campaigning. Now you got one team campaigning to one team. It's not exciting. It's in a quiet room and one team is refusing to participate. This shit is killing this season.
It really
check this
is.
out. I'm not a Challenge USA hater. I'm rooting for the Challenge USA to be good. I would love to have the extra talent pool. I would love to be able to watch the challenge year round. And it seems like these guys are fucking it up.
And then also them putting Survivor castmates on there is messing it up too. Because, I mean, as long as you keeping these Survivor people on, I'm starting to look more and more genius because I'm picking somebody from Survivor to win this season. I don't care who it is. Somebody for Survivor is taking home the money.
Well, Survivor has the best of the both worlds. They have the challenges that are difficult that they have to kind of overcome a lot, and they still have politics versus Big Brother that's in 99% politics with carnival games.
See, the mix is supposed to be really, really good, but it just doesn't seem to really be working out that way. And bringing in Big Brother people and Survivor people from the same season is smart because they bring some of those storylines with them. I mean, the cookout really shook things up for, a lot of people and for the game, in general. Not having them on the CBS version of the challenge would have been a huge loss. And we can see how a lot of these past seasons, they're coming through now, and they're really the only storyline. They couldn't, if these were all random people, these would just be, random storylines. We wouldn't get the ones that we have now. So that's why it's important.
I think they expected the Love Island people to be a little bit more dramatic or have a little bit more drama. And they've really kind of faded into the background. They really fucked up with letting Cashel leave that early because him and Kira would have had some drama because they've had some really up and down relationship situations. So they could have brought drama and they could have brought real suspense. The fact that they let those two go or let her go, and especially even Tiffany too, who could have also brought some drama into the situation.
But Tiffany was playing too much. If I'm thinking of this, if this is the girl that she plays too much of a Big Brother game in hindsight.
A lot of people are still playing Big Brother. A lot of these people are still playing Survivor. But in this winners and losers meeting, David floats Leo and Kayla. They're easy pick. And Desi floats Shannon and Derek. David really, we all remember David's season we got off. That's when we tried to watch Big Brother and we was thinking about doing a Big Brother pod, but that was the wrong season to jump into.
Yeah, but we also watched, I couldn't watch the live feeds. And I was talking about this, man. I tried to watch live feeds and I was like, everybody's like, so exciting. Watch the live feeds. And I'm like, this is the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life.
Shit ever.
What the fuck are you guys doing? You guys taking a nap, making a sandwich? This is what you want to see? Like, I want to see some fighting. I want to see some people chit-chatting in the corner. And then you can't even hear them talking.
For people in Big Brother, that's part of the game. Hey, are you paying attention? Hey, are you checking, what's going on when it's not on the show? That's part of the intrigue for them. So I get that part. And think about it. If the challenge had that would be fucking amazing.
Would be fire.
But we will also be just as bored. That needs to be like a half-hour cutaway episode or something like that. Like that would be a great addition.
Shit you haven't seen, the shit you don't see, whatever.
Oh yeah, that was great. But the challenge has also been running, right? But the challenge has also been running at 90 minutes for a lot of episodes. So we've been getting plenty of challenge content.
But they got a good mix because they have the challenge and they have the deliberation and they have the partying, then they have the drama, and then they have the elimination, and then they have all that stuff. So they've gotten the good mixture. Of course, they got to kind of contain that a little bit.
Yeah,
but they also need to bring back some of the more polarizing people. I am sick and tired of this copy-paste cast. I need something else.
They got to bring in a racist.
Yeah.
They brought Jordan.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about for Challenge USA. You got to bring in.
Sorry, it was right there. It was too easy.
Yo, what's the name of the guy with like the super square jaw that was on that season of Big Brother? I forget his name. Everybody fucking hated him. Bring him on.
Oh God.
I'm pretty sure I still hate half of this cast. Really, I'm still.
There's
even
always
though you
at
gotta
least
like
one or
the way,
two racists on Big Brother.
Right, and I'm not saying he is, but I'm still not sure if I like Tyson. I already know I dislike Sarah, but let's go ahead and move on to the arena. So Desi and David come down and they vote in Shannon and Derek, which I think was a good move overall for them. I know David really wanted to make a move, but there's really, unless you're ready to put in somebody like Tyson or ready to take a side with Ben. This is where David messed up. If he wanted to make a big move, he could have used his vote to get on the side of one of the alliances. He could have made a move towards Tyson's way. He could have made a move towards Ben and Sarah's way. He could have tried to see if he could grab the stragglers of Love Island and get him to the Big Brother side or whatever. There was a lot of moves to be made, and he pretty much just made no move. For Justine, who's trying to protect all the money that she got, this was the right move for her.
I mean, in all honesty, Enzo and his partner made a big mistake in not requesting Tyson. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Tyson has such a big piggy bank. And at this point, if you're going to go home, you might as well go after a big person who's going to like really make an impact. If he wants to be like, yeah, I kicked everybody's ass, then you're not going to really get that going against Leo. Even though he helped Sarah win last episode, he's not looked at as somebody who's going to be like an impactful player. He's a layup player.
No.
So
you save him for the final.
Exactly.
So when you and your buddy go, we already know who's getting third or fourth place.
Listen, if I'm going to go home, I'm going to try and do it to try and get the most money out of it, which means I'm going after the biggest bank account in that entire room. And the fact that they haven't gotten Tyson out on the days that he hasn't won is stupid because that guy's going to end up winning because they're not getting rid of him.
They're scared of him.
Well, there's a time and place for everything. It's just not his time yet. I think this was honestly a smart move after I thought about it some more, because the goal is to get to the $500,000. And if that means you have to stay neutral for this round, you stay neutral, because what that creates, what y'all just said, is a dynamic where you going in at some point and you may get sent home, because not only did you piss off one of the strong teams, they coming after you if they come back into the house.
But Enzo doesn't have enough money. Like, even if he flies under the radar and nothing happens to him,
just want to survive.
He's not going to make it to the final because he doesn't have the $5,000.
Right, but they have to win the challenges, and he's banking on himself.
I can't
on winning
see
the challenge.
Enzo really winning a challenge. If this motherfucker can't do a rope swing, I can't see him winning an episode.
That's fair.
That's true, but there is other opportunities where you can make that up, and some of that is luck. He's gonna have to luck up at some point because people luck up.
Listen, you can't rely on luck in these games. Sometimes you have to make your own luck.
You have to.
That part.
You have.
Wait. Who are you agreeing with, Malik? Me or him?
Huh? Oh, yours. You got to make your own luck.
I was like, wait, you gotta tell us who you're like, yeah, that one. He and I are both making points at the same time. What's going on?
Let me ask you guys, are you surprised that nobody in the house really respected this move?
I mean,
No.
Again, I think everybody is kind of just watching out for themselves. As long as it's not after me, I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As long as my name's not being floated, I don't care. But at the end of the day, again, I need the money. You don't know how many more challenges we have. So for all you know, like in 2 or 3 episodes, now all of a sudden you're in a final and you don't have enough money. And now you're purged. So there's a lot of things in there where you go, I can't risk this being over too soon. Because number one, you don't know how many people are going to be in that final. You don't know if it's going to be a partner final, if it's going to be an individual final. Mm-hmm. And you don't know if you're going to be able to win a challenge. You just don't understand what the next game is going to be. And everything is so up in the air.
Fact, you got to play for now. Robert, what's your take?
My take, no, I wasn't surprised at all. I expected it. When you make a move that's not going to really affect the outcome of what's happening now, so everything is still put in motion. So now you could be a detriment to the game, or it could help you. So we're going to find out the weeks come if that was the right move.
Big facts. So we never did get the name of this elimination, but I'm going to call it another tired elimination. Listen, Shannon and Derek was not a terrible choice. If they do end up winning and coming back into the house, they are a low threat, even to a David and a Desi. Desi probably would not see any of that fallout. David will probably see minimal at best, and no one is really expecting a whole bunch out of him. So the move made sense. So this elimination, they're going to have 2 platforms. Each platform is going to have 60 tires apiece for 120 tires, and all of the tires must be transferred from one platform to the other, and they had to do a race. Now, we've seen very similar eliminations like this in the past. It's not a bad one, but it's lap running. It's a race. TJ decides to throw them for a loop and decides that he's going to have a mini spelling bee before doing this, where he says words and they have to spell it backwards. That bullshit I be talking about. This was totally unnecessary. It was not needed. I hated it so much. These people already got to do, 60 laps. We don't need a fucking spelling bee. It doesn't even correlate to this fucking challenge. Who okayed this shit? How did you guys feel about the little mini spelling bee?
Let me tell you, I can't...
Don't even tell me. I know it was fucking terrible.
Listen,
it was weird.
I can't spell cynical
really
forwards, much less backwards. So the fact that she was able to do everything except for that last letter, I don't blame her. And the fact that the bitch got goggles after she got cynical, I was like, what the fuck is that shit? Like, this is purposeful. You're trying to help Shannon out because you want her to stay. That's just basically it.
The challenge needs that twerking.
Yeah, I was like, what in the world is going on? I said, this is the weirdest elimination I have ever seen, starting off with a backwards spelling bee. I don't understand that.
It was no point.
It's like, what the hell are we doing? We in elementary school still or something? I don't know. Can somebody please tell me, has school started yet?
It was just awful on every level. So,
for like the little elementary school kids who are watching this show, learn your alphabet, not just forwards, but backwards.
Right.
That's right.
So the spelling bee earns Derek and Shannon a 5-tire reduction. So they're going to have to move 55 tires opposed. Now, besides the lap running, there wasn't really a whole bunch of excitement, except that it did come down to the wire. But Enzo and Justine, they get the W because Enzo was smart enough to employ the strategy of stacking up smaller tires, so the chances of them tipping over wouldn't happen. And turns out he was fucking right. That what got him to the win. I really don't have much to say about this elimination. I mean, it was cool, but once again, this was the perfect time to give us a little bit of contact. You could do a boys and girls hall brawl, and do a best of 3. I was not very excited. I wasn't a fan of this elimination, especially at this time. I know we're 6 episodes in. We need the contact.
Yeah.
Do we know how many
100%
episodes
agree.
this season is? Did anybody
Probably
look into that?
Not really.
Probably
like
no more than
13.
12, 13
Right.
max.
Yeah.
If it's all
Yeah,
going to
you
be
know what?
this is going to be rough.
Exactly. You know what? And we're already starting to set, we either have already started or entering the second half. It has to pick up. It has to pick up. And then the show closes out on the perfect algorithm again. Let's go ahead and give this episode a rating, how you felt about it. 1 to 5 stars. I'm going to give this one a 2. This episode has so much opportunity. The A block could have been really, really explosive. That's going to be on the producers of the show. You got to make that happen. The thing that came to my mind was Jersey Shore when it came down to who wrote the note. Jersey Shore, the producers needed Sammy to find out what happened, and they kind of induced the girls to get this note done so it could blow up on TV. And Sammy wouldn't find out during the off season. I understand that the challenge is completely unscripted, and I love that the producers have such a little hand in that part. But this is where they need you. CBS needs your help. You don't have a Johnny Bananas leading the charge. Right. You don't have a CT who knows how to gracefully play the game and comment from the side and do what he has to do to keep the show entertaining. Wes is a straight up showman. Derek Kaczynski, they get it. They get it. And these people are already reality stars. Love Island, The Bachelor, Survivor. You haven't picked up on this shit yet?
I just don't think that they realize that they are playing for repeat visits. Like, I'm so
100. Oh, I'm glad you said that. That is real as fuck. You are playing to make sure you also get to come back.
So you need to have a little bit more drama. The thing is, what happened with Sarah when she freaked out and did her crazy thing, like that could easily bring her back. That kind of brings a semi Amanda crazy, some Ashley crazy kind of into her character. So if she learns how to boost that up and puts it in the house too, I think she could easily be a dominant character. Plus in the fact that she's a good challenger. I think she's pretty good. I know you're not a huge fan of hers, but I think she's decent.
How many stars though?
I give it a 2 too. It was drama. There wasn't enough drama. There wasn't enough something to really kind of get me going. Right. I was bored half of the time. Like, I could read a book and watch the episode. That is how, like, entertained I was by the whole situation.
Right.
So,
and the two, yeah.
So I feel like they just need to take some really... Brennan, what are the name? Brennan Murray need to step in and say, this is what made the challenge. They need to boost it up. Otherwise, like I said...
You saying that the principal guy come down, pull him out of class, and have a little meeting?
Listen, this is what
you guys are making boring
TV. They should have had at least 2 or 3 regular challenge people on here, even if they were like the Amazing Racers, where there was only like 3 of them, and have them show them what they need to do to bring elements of drama into it, because they have to build a story, they have to build characters. It is.
Well, number one, they have to take all these people all the old people, take them out of the equation. Those who are in their 40s, you got to take them out.
Listen, there's some 40-year-olds that are drama.
No,
so let's just...
No, but even better, though, there's a lot of young staff who's still able to take it on. Ashley, Amanda, Corey, Nelson. These people would transfer perfectly over. But Corey would flourish in this environment.
Oh my God, Corey would be so happy in this situation.
But y'all got to remember, they still part of that pop culture era. What I'm feeling on this side of the USA is they're taking that pop culture away, because that's what made the challenge. The challenge is pop culture, because there was a lot of issues that a lot of people didn't want to talk about that came from the real world, transcended into the challenge. and you be like, oh, I remember that cat from Boston Real World. This was the issues going on, and boom, there you have it. So they have to get that element of pop culture back, but that's what's missing is that pop culture.
I just don't think, like, I don't know, maybe Survivor just doesn't build characters the same way either. They're just trying to survive
it's
on a
Survivor
completely
is,
different show.
Survivor is more of a family show, okay? So that's a totally different audience.
Dude,
plus
what
you
happens to
got
the guy walking
Ray-
around naked? Like, I remember him from first
He's too
season.
old. He too old. He's
Well, there should
from
be
the
some
very
young
first. He's
people
too
walking
old.
around
You know what though?
naked and afraid.
Actually,
It's a thing.
Robert may have a point. He may have a point. Maybe it's us who's a problem. Think about it. Me and you.
Yeah.
We're not really too into Survivor or our Big Brother. Maybe we can't appreciate their muted personalities. No.
Are
it
we
can't
the
be us.
drama?
They're definitely the problem. Is this fucking play about us?
I always tell people, like, what is it on TikTok?
Oh,
Is it me?
man.
Am I the drama? But
Yes, you're the drama.
Did anybody here
Shut
watch
up, Rob.
Euphoria?
I am not the drama anyway. But what's funny, you brought up you brought up the whole Jersey Shore thing. I actually saw a TikTok the other day where somebody wrote it out. They were at Paulie's show, like his DJ show, and he wrote it on a note saying, "Did the producers force them to write the note?" And he showed it to Paulie, and he started cracking up. And
They did. It's a well-known story. But it also makes sense. That's not a bad story. That shows the craftsmanship and the gamesmanship of the producers at the time. And let's be serious. The Jersey Shore producers knew what the fuck they're doing. That show is still going on.
because Sammy and Ronnie were the show, and their drama was what most people tuned into.
But
Still,
also,
there was a situation and Snooki was hilarious.
But also, that goes back to pop culture. We're going back to pop culture. That's
Big
what's
facts,
missing
big
in
facts.
the Challenge USA is pop culture.
All right. So that's going to be episode 6 of the Challenge USA. Do we have anything else to get into before we go ahead and get out of here?
Nothing.
Oh, wait, before I go, just remember, Pot Stirrers, I will be in Chicago September 3rd. It's going to be live. Can't wait to see some of y'all, to meet some of y'all, and to talk my shit and be me and just spend some time. As much as I want to see Scott and Derek and the other cast members, my favorite part is getting to see all of you guys and taking pictures and giving y'all high fives and shit. And of course, just talking about my favorite show in the whole entire world with you motherfuckers. So, see you guys there. If you don't have a ticket, get one. That shit is going to be live.
See, I'm not
Anything
going to
else?
the show, but I will be at the after show.
Oh, one more thing.
Oh, that's what's up.
1, big shout out to homie Gamer Vav. 2, big shout out to the Challenge Unbothered Facebook group. We are in a lot of Facebook groups. We love them all. But the Challenge Unbothered is our home. We fucks with everybody there. They have an excellent podcast. Speaking of excellent podcasts, make sure you guys check out our cohorts over there at the Off the Hook podcast. Want to give a big shout out to them. And much love to everybody else in the Challenge podcast community. Do your thing. We support you guys from afar. We can't listen to every single one, but just know that you guys have our love and support.
There's somebody else on
and
here
we
that
love
has a
seeing
podcast.
you guys shine.
I don't know who that is.
What? I was going to segue into him name dropping his stuff, but since we're here now, Robert, since you're here, why don't you go ahead and drop your pod?
Okay, my pod is for the love of the challenge. Definitely, I want to give a shout out to Love, War, and Challenges because Malik actually created my logo. So a lot of his stuff. And
I never told anybody that.
Right, and he hooks it up. So he's actually taught me a lot about podcasting. I continue to learn from it, and I continue to learn. And you too, Becky. Okay.
Damn, I'm getting some shine here. Let me get some shine.
I got you, Becky.
You trying to snatch my chain.
So be on the lookout for my reunion. My anniversary was actually a couple of days ago, so I will be dropping something soon on that. So I cannot wait. We got big things coming. Also, you can hear me on Love, War, and Challenges until the fill-in comes back. So I'm filling in right now, and I'm actually enjoying this whole bit. I get to
love
talk
having
with
you
y'all.
here.
Yes, sir.
Love having you. You really get to bring a your knowledge of Big Brother and your knowledge of Survivor right now. I mean, we was getting roasted. I mean, man, we put out a YouTube video. We getting roasted. Oh my God, learn their names. You guys have a podcast. You should know better. And
Write them down. Jeez.
I'm not mocking them, but we do hear. So we hear what you guys said, and we fixed the problem. We educated ourselves. We have another co-host who's helping us out with that. So we can take criticism healthily.
We find it. Listen.
But watch who the fuck you talking to.
We make fun of ourselves enough for the fact that we mess these people's stories, their backgrounds, their names.
I haven't messed up since. Shit.
Listen, you call Tyson Tyler half of the time, so
come on. That's an easy mistake to make.
Tyson don't even need to be on the show. He got money. You know what I mean? So.
Facts. But you're already rich. All right. That's going to do it for us. Episode 6. Once again, thank you guys all for listening. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at LWC Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and TikTok at Love War Challenges. Cop your official Love War Challenges gear at shop.lwcpodcast.com, and our podcast is lwcpodcast.com. And make sure you listen to Love War Challenges podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app. Once again, I am MTV Malik. He is Robert Stewart Jr. She is Becky at Gift Master Bex. This is Love War Challenges. Good night.
bye.